I just got home from such a fascinating walk. I was at a beautiful friend's birthday and I had the option of either, just catching a ride with somebody or walking all the way down to the train station with a completely brand new person that I met at the gathering. What was fascinating about this walk was this human being is so expressive in his way of wanting to really nudge into the beauty of what different people have to offer. And so he moves through his life with a camera that he carries and asks really good, valuable, beautiful questions. And something he threw out, which was not like the regular question of like, what do you do? How long have you lived in the city? Where are you from? Blah, 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 blah. What he said to me was, first he observed, he said, are you some sort of writer or speaker or something of that nature? And I said, yes, I guess. And then he said, what is your favorite thing to write about? Immediately, without even realizing, what started to come through me was this thing. I said, my biggest fascination in life is this little space between that which is intangible and that which suddenly becomes tangible. It's that tiny gap between when the person almost gives up completely, when you want to throw in the towel because you're like, nothing is changing, it's never ever going to move. And that little thing that happens in between that nudges this soul over the line, and boom, something deliciously amazing happens. That gap, that little space, that almost invisible space, this is my life fascination. This, in my opinion, is where real transformation takes place. Because this is where we mostly are trained to overlook everything. We are trained to ignore the gap between the two spaces because it's so small. You can't even see it's there unless you are really dialed in, unless you are really, really, really listening to your heart, your soul, your mind, your body. Unless you're even trained to know how the brilliance of your life force communicates through regular, simple, everyday nudges, little nuances. And as I was sharing with him, I realized that many of my clients have received, have shifted into, have unlocked, have really stepped into embodying some pretty darn freaking insane breakthroughs, not because I am doing some kind of magic wand waving and clever trickery of any sort, placing them under some wild spell of something very clever that I suddenly know. No, it is because I train them about how to perceive this little gap in their decisions, this little gap that keeps acting like a tuning fork and aligns them and aligns them and aligns them deeper and deeper and deeper into knowing their truth so well that they can feel a little pull when there's something that nudges them in a direction just purely because of curiosity. Maybe they think, I won't go this way today, I'll drive in that direction. And then something really beautiful opens up. This is not some kind of very clever principle. In fact, it's very messy and it's very unboxable and it's very ordinary. And that is why we miss it. My invitation today in this podcast is this: nudge in, lean in just a little bit longer in the ordinary, mundane, almost invisible, non existent gaps in your world. Those little spaces, I promise you right now, are quantum jumps across black holes and Grand Canyons that other people before you were never able to cross, precipices that others around you, friend circles, connections you may have, People in your business, in your company, whatever it might be, there is a current that is sucking them in all day, every day, that you can't just leap out of. You can only nudge out of it by shifting ever so slightly into one of these little spaces. Sometimes it's just with your awareness. Sometimes it's from trusting your intuition. Sometimes it's seeing something that was there all along that you never paid attention to. Other times it's this little voice inside of you that's saying, don't leave yet. Don't leave. Don't leave yet. I know it feels like you've done everything in your power, but don't go just yet. And usually in these little nudges, there isn't really any logical, gigantic reason. The problem with us is that we are trained metabolically, biologically, by society to only ever respond when everything lands in a ball of flames. We need very extreme circumstances and scenarios. We need very big stories. We need all the gigantic typhoons to really roll in. We need the lightning bolt to slap us in the butt cheeks before we get up and do something, when really our lives are designed to hum us, hum us in, hum a little bit, hum us in across a tiny little gap that we would have missed if we turned our heads too quickly. What in your life is humming so softly that you almost can't hear it? I can guarantee you right now, your miracle is hiding behind it.